This episode is sponsored by OrangeQC.
And so if you're one of those folks who are just starting out and you're saying, I got to know everything about how to sell before I sell, chances are you're probably never going to sell.
How do we retain and attract customers? Because we're going after a customer that expects professionalism. They expect to have access to people 24/7 pretty much.
Find people that you can trust, build relationships with preferred vendors, and you should do carpets, floor care, windows, pressure washing. Success in the cleaning industry is determined by three key factors: customer satisfaction, overall profitability, and the efficiency of your operational systems. However, many professionals in the industry struggle to accurately gauge customer satisfaction, determine the right pricing, or implement the systems necessary for smooth and effective business operations. In this podcast, Greg and I will dive into what it takes to elevate your company and achieve success in 2025. We recommend visiting our website, octocleanmedia.com, which contains some really exciting products to help you with prospecting, selling, and marketing. We also have a membership program that comes with private community access that allows you to network with other cleaning professionals, access to our 10-day prospecting challenge, and access to group coaching and one-on-one coaching. We're in there answering questions and sharing valuable info in the group discussions. Don't miss out on this opportunity to get more training. Visit octocleanmedia.com to learn more. All right, so Greg, we're talking today about what makes a great cleaning company in 2025. And so we got some really interesting topics to discuss. This is a pretty, when we have conversations with folks that are either new to the business or are thinking about it, like this is like a question that comes up, not specifically in 2025, but, what does it take to be successful? So I'm excited to be able to share this, with them, with our listeners and with our YouTube followers. So let's take a look here. So you want to jump into this first question? We'll see what we can do here.
So what service offerings and features attract and retain customers? Now, I always think back to when not necessarily we first started, because we got early on, we learned that we didn't know what we didn't know. There was a lot, right?
Yeah.
So when I'm looking at what offerings retain and attract customers now, we're probably talking to a little bit of a different customer base. But if you're looking at someone that's starting your business, and a lot of the people that we consult with and work with on the OctoClean Media side, they're either looking at getting where they're at operationally, what can I add to add service, kind of keep my customer in my customer. I'm not letting people in my building, protect that building. Or how do I first start? How am I getting my first account? And then doing it right from the very beginning. So that's really the jump start, that they're getting, instead of them having to learn, by making mistakes. Now they're like, okay, how do I retain a customer, and how do I attract any customer?
Right.
And we work with people that have been in these industries forever, and there's still those, old mop bucket people.
Yeah. Well, they haven't improved. They're looking at, this is tried and true. Why change? So for a lot of folks who are, listening in right now, wanting to know, what does it take? I'm going to say you probably have an advantage over a lot of these mop bucket, 25, 30-year companies, because they would have been bigger probably by now, right? If they would have been innovative, would have been courageous and made changes to their internal structure and so on.
When we talk about efficiency in cleaning businesses, OrangeQC has been a game changer.
Absolutely. The ease of tracking inspections and quality control, it's like having an extra set of eyes on every job.
I love how easy it is to keep everything organized. From real-time reporting, assigning tasks, it's all in one place.
And the best part, it's so intuitive. Our team loves using it, and it keeps us all on the same page.
We wouldn't want to run our operations without it. OrangeQC really simplifies the quality control for us.
Want to streamline your cleaning businesses? Try OrangeQC today and see the difference that it can make. But, I would say that I want to speak to, I think it's important we speak to the different categories of people. And you hit the nail on the head when you said do the things, do everything, right, be efficient, be effective. If you're listening in right now and you're a small, let's say you've never even taken on a client, then get into action, right?
Yeah.
Get your business card, get yourself a logo, get some t-shirts, get some, polos, and go out and start hitting doors and talking to people and talk to people around you.
Yeah. And don't act like you know what you're doing. That's the biggest thing. If you're going into a bank and you're like, and then swim where you know you're going to be successful. That's something else we're going to talk about in another, podcast, when we talk about how do you start all by yourself? Because, we've both been there. We've started out where it's just us. So this is a huge question, and it's really two different answers when you're talking to two different types of people. How do you retain and attract customers if it's just you, like you're just starting out? And then how do we retain and attract customers? Because we're going after a customer that expects professionalism. They expect to have access to people 24/7 pretty much.
And transparent reports and communication and, the ability to scale with them.
And the ability to move quickly.
It's a totally different world. So, if you're new, get started. Do something.
Yeah.
Right? And while you're out there, attracting people to talk with you, because everything is a conversation. Everything is just a conversation. And so if you're one of those folks who are just starting out and you're saying, I got to know everything about how to sell before I sell, chances are you're probably never going to sell. Better than not. 90% of you will just be like, I don't know enough, so I can't do it. You got to go out and start having conversations with people. And if you're listening in on this podcast, you're starting in a good spot because and watching our stuff, and you're considering OctoClean Media, membership, you're in the right spot. Do not fall victim to, I have to know everything before I do anything. Then we get into these categories of folks, and we're working with consulting clients right now that fit into this category. They were learn everything, and now they're working 18-hour days because they've taken on some clients, and they're having to learn how to be efficient, how to hire people, how to train them, how to supervise that they're doing the work properly, how to manage issues and relationships with employees, all of that stuff. So it really, when it comes to what service offerings, you hit it again early on. You don't want to invite the wolf into, the fox into the hen house, right? And so if I've got a building and I'm cleaning it, you really need to be able to provide enough of the other potential services or have preferred vendors that you trust that only do that work.
Early on was what we did when we couldn't afford to have expensive equipment.
Couldn't afford a truck mount. We found a guy that just did carpet, right? Not a cleaning company that also did carpet cleaning.
Yeah.
Or a pressure washing company
or a window cleaner guy that also had a janitorial business. So that's what a preferred vendor is that's all they do. And there's stipulations in there, and there's stuff on OctoClean Media, like if you're worried about, confidentiality and, not going after my customer, there's things you can implement.
Yeah. And really, what we're giving in a podcast like this is the opportunity for you to learn enough. And then really OctoClean Media is like, okay, I want to know the details. Well, you're a member, so you get it. So, it's important that, if you really want to get into the questions, and those questions that you're probably asking yourself right now, well, that's great. You're saying preferred vendors, but what does a preferred vendor look like? How do I build that relationship? What insurance do I need to have them present to me? Do I need to be added on as an additional insured? How do I create?
Too much there for one podcast.
Yeah, those are the right questions. I don't remember the movie or the show that I've watched before, but I always loved it when the guy would say to his counterpart, "You're asking the wrong questions." Right? It's not that I can't tell you the answer. You're just asking the wrong questions. You've got to know what questions to ask so that we can help you. And we're going to do our best to do that.
So if you were to just say, generalize, Matt, like what service offerings and features attract and retain customers? I mean, we're talking things like, now I want you to think outside the box. Customer support, quality assurance, specialty services. So if I'm running by myself, customer support could mean that, while I'm sleeping, I'm cleaning at night. While I'm asleep, my wife will answer the phone and be customer service.
Correct.
Now, they don't need to know that, That's your wife, and you're in a 2-bedroom apartment, and she's answering the phone.
Right.
For her, she's answering the phone. ABC, janitorial services. How can I help you? It doesn't need to be like, oh well, just text me. That's not what they're expecting. And then quality assurance, same thing. If you're running it, maybe you got to do your own quality assurance. So maybe that looks like I can offer that offering. I can't afford to pay for that offering, but I don't want to do it.
But I can do it.
But I can do it. I can go out on Saturday and I can do my own quality assurance and shut my head off that I'm the one cleaning and be critical of my own cleaning.
And I think with that, it's customer support. I mean, it all comes down to this. You've got to have a plan, right? I mean, coming from someone who early days, and so well, was like, fly by the seat of your pants. Let's get it done.
Like,
do we really need to sit and go over what we're going to talk about?
Yes.
And this is stuff that we just talked about. And, Greg was like, so Matt, I wanted to meet with you to go over this podcast. I'm like, dude, we've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah.
Like, we know how to do this. We just need to go through and review it. But the point is this, you've got a plan. If you don't have a plan on how you're going to deal with customer service, who's going to do it, to your point? What is your quality assurance? It doesn't matter if you go. It matters if the client knows you are going and what you're doing. That's an offering that you have to be able to provide. And what a customer wants is consistency, right? It doesn't need to be consistently good, great. It needs to be consistent.
What I talk about with our, on the OctoClean side with franchisees is consistency is like driving a car down a 2-lane highway. You trust that person on the other side of that road is consistently going to keep their car in their lane so you don't get killed.
That's what you trust.
That's consistency. Too many janitorial companies come in and they're getting front-end collision because now they have no toilet paper, no paper towels, the trash isn't emptied, and they go in like it's roulette every day. They're like, I wonder what they're going to screw up today.
Yeah, what's
great,
going to happen
today? Toilet paper. There's OC covers today. Oh, they didn't vacuum again. That's how you lose accounts.
Yeah.
But the same thing here is with the customer support and all this quality assurance. It's more than just, I can be a perfect cleaner, but a lot of times when perfect cleaners, when we're talking about retaining and, attracting customers, they have no face.
Yeah.
Look at it that way. Like, I could have a perfect landscaper. I don't even know dude's name.
Yeah.
So if you come to my house, I'm like, dude, I really like Matt. He's a cool dude.
Yeah.
I'm going to deal with you because I like you. And I'm like, you know what? Hey, Matt, this isn't done right. Oh, I got it. Don't worry about it. We're going to come in.
Yeah.
And that's the relationship. And that's the one where when we're talking about attracting customers, that's when Matt and I are sitting at a dinner and be like, and he's complaining about his janitorial company. I'm like, you know what, dude? I've got a really good company. They're not perfect, but if they have a complaint, I just call them up. And that's what's attracting it, especially in 2025. It's the unknown stuff. It's not I can clean perfect, man. I'm never going to get any complaints. Well, you will get complaints.
Well, and I think you're also leading into, customer support is more than just being reactive. Customer support is having a relationship.
Yeah.
It's building that relationship, understanding that these are people on the other side of that phone, on the other side of that email. So, again, what is your schedule? What is your plan? What is your consistent, reliable, dependable, expected, plan to provide customer support? What is your, consistent, reliable plan to provide account or customer or quality assurance reports to customers? And when it comes to specialty services, you have to have either the ability to do this yourself. And when I say the ability, do not shoot yourself in the foot
and buy a carpet van and say, you got it. Here's the keys. Have fun, bud.
Right. I mean, or worse, you go down to the local Home Depot or Lowe's and you pick up a little portable, unit, and you're like, I'm about to make that money today. And it's like, well, no.
How much money is it if you don't take it back? Shout out to you, Dad.
Yeah, shout out to Chuck. We need to make sure he puts that comment in there. But find people that you can trust, build relationships with preferred vendors, and you should do carpets, floor care, windows, pressure washing. All right, if you can do those 4 things, you're going to be okay.
You're going to be okay. Yeah.
Then you start getting into deeper things, right? Like,
but that's just the
parking lot sweeping and stuff like that. Those are the basics.
Yeah.
Because if you don't do that, then they're going to pick up,
that's where they're going to be like, oh, this is a small company.
Yeah, or they're gonna, or worse, they're not gonna say anything. They're gonna be like happy with your cleaning, but they're gonna reach out to people like us and say, hey, do you guys clean carpets? And we're gonna go in and say, well, yeah, I mean that's curious thing. Like your company doesn't clean carpets?
Well, no, and that looks like I got to send someone in on Saturday to let them in because
Correct.
the company that I contracted the carpet cleaning with, that's what a preferred vendor would be. Is
Yeah,
you're letting them in, you're doing all that stuff. Of course, there's ways to do that as far as like in OctoClean Media it talks a lot about like how to make money on preferred vendor contracts. You're making money on this stuff. It's not like
it's not like you're just giving the money away.
$500. I'm going to give Matt $500 to
No.
do my carpet. That's not how that works.
No, you're building those relationships. You're letting them know like you're not having to go out and find the business. You're not having to spend the money on the lead generation. So we're bringing you the business. So let's cut that piece out of your expense and give that back to us. It's an easy conversation, but it has to be had. So, other things, and I think we kind of tapped into this a bit, is like, what are the most effective ways to gather honest feedback from your customers/clients, and how should cleaning companies use this data to improve their services?
Well, I'm going to put something out there that, do you want to talk about how we get, a lot of people don't like to complain. They don't want to have their name on the complaint, right?
Yeah.
They feel like the only people that have the right to complain are CEOs, maybe the facilities director, the manager of the building. That's it. But, Susie sitting at her desk is sitting there like, these people suck. And so what Susie does at break is she's talking to all the other people and she's rallying around these people suck. And pretty soon you got the pitchforks and lanterns.
Yeah.
And they're like storming the hill to get rid of you.
Yeah, exactly.
So for me, I want a way that anybody can complain. Anybody in the whole building can complain.
Yeah.
If you want to know data, open it up that way. And there's a lot of ways that we do that here.
I think the early way to do that is to, going back to kind of the beginning around customer support, be visible.
Yep.
Walk the buildings, have your logo shirt on or polo, or pullover or whatever, and make yourself visible. Like you don't have to go up and be like, hey, how you doing? Reception person, how are you doing? So and so. That's actually, I would do not do that. We don't train any of our people to do that.
It makes people really uncomfortable.
But do make yourself visible. So you're going around, you're looking, and you're checking on things, and and then when that person sees you, they're gonna be like, oh, hey, are you with the cleaning company? Yeah, my name's Matt. How are you? Oh, well, I had a couple things I wanted to talk to you about. This, and this. Like, oh, okay, great. Well, let me collect all that information. And then as I'm walking the building and collecting information, chances are very good that things are going to say to you are going to be
You're going to be off the cuff.
Well, and they're going to be money. They're going to be extra services because they don't know the scope of work.
Yeah.
So now I'm walking into my contact's office and I'm saying, hey, when I was walking around today, Jane over here asked this, Bill over here asked for that, this person asked for that. How do you want to handle that? And they'll be like, it's probably time to do the carpets.
Yeah.
And boom, and you're going. You've got to make yourself available. And what I train my account managers to do, what's the number one way of knowing if they're happy?
They're buying again from me.
They're buying again.
And I always say, you don't see me for free.
Yeah, exactly. You don't see me for free.
I don't see me for free. When I'm in the building, you don't see me for free. I'm not going to sell you something you don't want.
No.
But I guarantee you we're going to find something that you do want.
Yes. Yep. If it's going to be new hand sanitizer dispensers, or it's going to be carpet cleaning or floor care, or it's going to be windows, it's going to be whatever.
Something, another day a week, another day porter. It could be anything.
And if it's not any of those things, it's going to be, if someone were to call you, number one, can I use you as a reference? And if they say, well, yeah, you can use me as a reference. Great.
If someone was to call you,
what would you say? And so I want to hear what they're going to say, because that's the satisfaction level.
Most people are afraid to say that because they don't want to know. They don't want to know what you want to say, and they'll be like, "Oh, can I use it as a reference?"
If you
don't even want to say that,
if you don't want to know, you're going to know when they send you a 30-day cancellation notice. Like, you're going to know. So, be brave. Ask the question, and really the biggest compliment that you can get from a client is what?
Referral.
A referral. So you ask for a reference. Yes. What would you say? Bingo. You get the answer you want. Well, I don't suppose you know anybody that maybe would want to work with us. Well, actually, I do. I was talking to, my daughter, and my daughter runs 5 clinics. Oh, okay, great. Well, how would we do that introduction? You want to send an email and add me to it? Yeah, okay, well, let's go ahead and do that now. And boom, boom, boom. This is a true story, actually happened, right? Just the other day. So, and that's because of the time that Greg has put in and the team in Arizona and so on. And I've had a little bit of, I think we've all had something to do with it. But, it's been really, really positive. But and what was funny about that is, incident or situation was that client never really seems happy, right? And so it was a really, really, I think, a good moment for us because we were like, wow, okay. I mean, I guess all of the conversations and issues, it's resulted in this.
But I think that client, with any large client, they realize that now you're not dealing with a company I'm talking to the person cleaning. You're dealing with a company that has to manage people. And when you're in a company you're also having to manage hundreds of people to come to work every day, they understand the human factor.
Right, they do.
So they're looking for other companies that can manage the human factor more than anything else.
Yeah.
They know it's going to make a mistake. You have to hire employees.
Yeah.
So
those would be the things. Before we continue, I actually saw a really funny comment. I don't know. You're getting comments now, right? Yeah. That said that they had to sub because of our communication about why you're not subbing, subscribing, right? So here we go again. So before we continue, 70% of you watching our videos on YouTube and returning to our channel each week are not subscribed to our channel. What's up, bro?
Come on. If you don't want to, at least you're going to make mass hair fall out.
It's already, that's actually one of my goals this year is to come to peace with my hair loss. Just letting you know.
I don't know. I think you should keep fighting that battle.
I'm going to try. So please subscribe and help us get that number to 60%. I did this 60%. How hard is it? Just push the button.
We should do a giveaway. If we get to 60%, we'll do a giveaway.
We can track that, right, Moses? Yeah? Okay. All right, so if we can get to 60%.
Then the person that got us to 60% will get the...
Oh, I don't know how that would work. How would that work, Moses? Moses is like, I don't know how to do that.
All right, we have to ask the guy that owns Google. Matt's got him on speed dial.
All right, so we're going to figure this out, right? So let's do this. The people who sub in the next 30 days, we're going to put you all in a pool. And we're going to do, let's step up, man.
Okay, let's step up.
Okay.
So don't necessarily want to give them janitorial stuff, right?
No, you can give them some swag. I mean, that might not interest them, so let's give them a $200 gift card.
I'm down with that.
Okay, and it will be something not janitorial.
Yeah.
All right, but you got to get to the 60%. It doesn't cost you anything to sub, and you're going to be alerted every Wednesday when Moses and his greatness is placing a new video up on the YouTubes. Yeah. So you're also going to see our upcoming live streams, and right now, just below the video, like I said, hit the subscribe button, and thank you. Yep. All right, good. So
that being said, now that we're done begging you guys.
Yes, it's not even in begging. It's just like,
it's just free.
Like, dude, it's not hard.
You can turn the little thing off.
Yeah. So next question. How can businesses get ahead of the curve with robotics?
This is a great question. And I mean, I tossed my head around this. As Matt and I know, we had a autonomous robot come in yesterday. Not the robot himself, it showed up, but it was a gentleman that, they sell
operating.
It would have been amazing if it did, though. Then I would have bought that thing, sold.
Yeah.
And there's that. So ahead of the curve. In California, we deal with a whole different issue with labor and the government stepping in and telling us how much we should pay labor than probably anywhere in the country. I know everybody's feeling it, but for us, we even have different segments of our industry that we have to pay more. For healthcare, we have to pay X amount if you're in a healthcare facility, whether or not you work there or not.
Yeah.
If you go in and do a quality assurance, I have got to pay you that much. If you go in and drop off toilet paper, I got to pay you that much.
Right.
So for us, how do we save and how do we remain profitable? Because it's that old adage that, if I have something needs done on my car, it should be the same everywhere. Well, I just can't keep bringing it up. So for us, it's the way that we are trying to offset that is with the robotics.
Yeah.
With someone that doesn't call out, someone you don't have to pay payroll to, but it's still It's a hard thing to like wrap your head around.
So here's kind of how I'm wrapping my head around this. You know, you and I are both reading the same book right now around Atomic Habits. And I think it's a great book. Anybody who's in business should pick it up and read it. I forget the number, but it's some high percentage of things that we do every day that are considered automated habits. And it's some crazy number. So getting up in the morning, using the restroom, brushing your teeth, putting on your clothes, doing all that kind of, I mean, there may be some awareness around your clothes, but you get my point, right? These things are things that you don't have to use a lot of brain power for. So when I'm thinking about labor in areas that, let's say anybody who's cleaning a building would hate to be part of, right? Big open spaces, vacuuming, big open spaces, running a floor machine, long hallways, and you're just like, it's just.
And those are areas that they just shortcut too.
Yeah, they're just, and they should, so yeah, because you hate it, you're doing it less well, right? So, you know, I'm looking at how do we create, and it's not cheap. I mean, robotics are, I mean, this
and they
machine,
don't tell you how much it costs.
No, and they don't tell you, and they're like, well, what's the list price on this? And then like the rep is like, oh, well, I think we can get it somewhere in the mid to high 30s, and oh, well, list is 48,000, and I'm like, huh? And so they're not basing the price on of course, on the unit. They're basing it on the production. They're basing it on how many FTE can you remove from an area because you're using this unit. And so, you know, one thing that I've been working on with like ROI is, okay, what is that actual number? And I mean, my guess right now is about a half FTE for a unit like that.
Yeah, you still got to have people, and then you got to be like, okay, where's that person got to go?
Right.
But
the other part of this is this, and my brother-in-law Aaron, who I know you watch some of these, you know, so please, you get all the kudos.
better be subscribing.
You better be subscribed. It is this, that, you know, there's a lot of question about, you know, well, what would you tell a client? Well, we use robotics, so we're using this machine, and it's going to go up and down. I mean, you know, there's going to be a client who's going to say, or a prospect, well, do I get a discount? Okay, and Aaron, thank you again. This is the simple answer. We guarantee that there's going to be somebody there doing this job, and we can show you the tracking and the reporting. So no, because we're actually providing more value by knowing that that person isn't going to call out sick, have a flat tire. They're not going to, you know, have an issue with a relative that they have to go deal with.
Or whatever
it's going to be consistent and reliable, right? And it also creates a higher level of satisfaction with our employees, because they're going to say, I don't have to vacuum that hallway that's mundane and crazy and stupid and I don't want anything to do with. I can focus on the detail stuff. And because they're using, you know, that robot is doing a lot of the work, they can use a backpack vacuum that's battery powered instead of corded, and they can be more efficient. They can not worry about
get more done.
They get more done. And it's just an overall better situation. So all that said, I'm still going to have, like, I think we're both going to have one of those, like, oh man moments when we have to, you know, cut a check for $30,000. So I definitely would say that you need to look at it and see how it would, you know, it could return investment for you.
And I mean, it's not for every single building. You know, it's not for your, you know, 2,000 square foot.
Yeah, absolutely not.
You know, leasing office or whatever it might be, or it's for large areas.
Yeah.
What are some areas in commercial cleaners can always improve? Well, I think we talked about that. People talk about, we're not talking about cleaning. Commercial cleaners can improve on customer support, quality assurance, and being able to have specialty services. I think it goes back to those things.
Well, I'm going to say this. If you're a leader of a company and you claim to be one, like you claim to be someone who's running your organization, the number one thing that you can do to improve is improve yourself. Work on your habits, get your health to where it needs to be, plan better, know what you're doing one day to the next. If you're not doing that, then you're just taking whatever external things are coming to you.
Because the people that do that it didn't come with them at birth. You know, like, oh, I'm just somebody that plans really well. I'm someone that does this. No, you got to reach out and, you know, right now with technology and the internet, I mean, there's so many ways that you can learn.
Yeah. Well, there's, and you'll find, and if I could give one thing personally that somebody should do, get out of the infinity loops. Right?
Yeah.
So the infinity loops are what? Simple things. Social media, television, and other types of distractions that are kind of around, but in apps that you're using, right? Anything. It's ESPN, sending you push notifications. It's also email, constant checking email. If you get out of those and you train yourself not to be part of that, you're going to save yourself so much time so you can plan, so you can be a better leader. If you're a better leader, you're a better company owner, better, manager, etc. So focus on yourself. You folks that are listening, you're running your companies. Be better people. You'll have a better company. So we're going to mix it up a little bit here.
So we're going to
change it up from this or that
to
share a story.
Stories of the janitorial industry. So we've been in this a long time, and I always want to say that, we've seen it all. And then even now, I'm like, never seen that one before.
No.
So
that's one of the blessings of the industry that we're in, right? Is that you're dealing with a lot of people, clients, employees, vendors, all of that. And so there's always going to be something, right? So there's so many stories. I'm going to share one today. And this was a client that we had 25 plus years ago when I was still cleaning buildings on a daily. And this was a lawyer, and no knock on attorneys because we have some really good ones, some of the best in the nation. And they're good folks. But this dude, he had a habit before it was legal to smoke a bunch of weed, like a bunch of pot. And his office would always have that kind of like,
well, you knew something was out,
like that teenager, like pot smoking smell, like covered with a lot of fragrance.
like a skunk came by and skunked him every day.
Right. But we never really ran into the guy. And when we did see him, it was on customer visits and things like that. He was always pretty buttoned up and, typical kind of lawyer. Well, one Sunday, we were going in at the same time that we always did. Always the same time. And we noticed that the car was out there. His car was there. And we opened the door to the back of the office, and smoke just starts flying out of this house, right? Because it was like a little house that he worked out of. And it would knock you out. Like it was like total contact high. And so we were like, well, we're here to clean, So like we kind of aired it out a little bit. We came in like, hey, janitorial. This guy came out like told, hey, you can't be in here. Why are you even here? You can't be here. And we're here the same time every single Sunday.
Like you legit.
And he's like, well, don't clean this week. You can leave.
Bet.
And we're like, all right, that's fine. We'll still be billing you. Have a nice day. And we never, ever, as long as we had that contract, never saw the guy again. And anytime we ever went in to meet with him just to see how things were going, never came out of his office. He always had the person at the front say, well, yeah, everything's fine. So, yeah, that was a funny story. But anyway, Greg's going to get to share some stories. We're going to kind of alternate back and forth from podcast to podcast. And that's just kind of the tip of the iceberg.
And that's an easy one.
That's an easy one. We got some crazy stuff.
Some stuff I don't even know if we could share. We have to
some names.
We have to talk first.
The names are not they're not real to protect individuals. So we're going to jump into questions now. So I'll read the first one. You read the first one, and I'll do the second one.
Santos
Miriala?
So we'll just say Santo.
There we go.
Just curious, do you charge a fee for clogged toilets or drain backups, which require extra cleaning over the scope of work? I think is what she's saying, or he, or this individual. So Matt, why don't you go talk about that?
Yeah, of course. If it's something that requires extra labor, then we're going to have to charge them additionally. But you're going to want to set that conversation up with them beforehand, especially if it's a building that has this happen a lot. Now, there's certain carve-outs of this. If you have a daytime cleaner that's there for a certain number of hours,
Can't do that.
You can't do that. You can't charge them more for it because they're already there. All right. Now you got me coughing over here.
Sorry, Tam James 1 asks, your videos are fantastic. Thank you, Tam. I've been watching several of them and really appreciate the insights you share. I especially love pain, decision, and budget theory. However, I'm curious, how does this apply to brand new buildings that haven't experienced any of the pain yet? Well, that's a good question because the building's brand new, but I guarantee you that vendor's not brand new.
Exactly. Or the customer's experience with other janitorial companies
definitely
they
not
work
brand
with.
new.
So this is a very, very common question with salespeople that I've worked with. The way that I approach it is this: I know this is a new building. Why did you invite us out? And if they say, "Oh, well, because we need somebody to clean the building," well, obviously. Tell me a little bit about your experience working with janitorial companies. And they say, they either have one of two things. They're like, "Oh, I had this. I think, well, is there a reason that you invited us out and not the client the company that you've worked with in the past? And if they say, well, we don't really like them, well, tell me more about that. Now I can get into the pain. The other would be that they have no experience with janitorial companies because they're brand new to this. Okay, but they do have experience with service-based vendors or service issues with other people. So it would be like, I know you don't have any experience with this, and we work with a lot of folks that don't have experience hiring janitorial companies. But tell me about a time that you had to hire someone to service one of your buildings or be in your house or whatever it was. What did you like? What did you not like? And they would say, oh, this. And then I'll use the magic wand, type of...
But all that stuff's in.
And it's like, hey, look, if you had a magic wand and we could create any vendor you wanted, what would we look like? And then you can start to extract. So really, really good question. And again, this goes back to what we said earlier. You're asking the right questions, right? That's a good, very good question.
And then you definitely want to get in decision and the budget. I mean, a lot of times you're talking to someone that has no decision-making authority whatsoever. It's like the builder. It's like, well, I just wanted to get him a quote. Just be nice.
Yeah. Well, and you want to find out where they fall in the decision-making process. So,
and how that decision's made.
Yeah. Is the decision made by you? How many other people? What was it made last time? When are you going to make it? What factors are you taking into consideration? I mean, there's all sorts of things. All right. So that was a big topic, a lot of stuff. We want to thank everyone for watching or listening to this episode of the OctoClean Podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. Leave a comment with the topics that you want to discuss next time. And if you are listening, don't forget to rate and review the podcast. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.